Good morning. My name's Cath Ellis, and I'm talking today about low-fidelity wireframes. So this is the second time I'm doing this. I did this last week. It was an absolute train wreck. Couldn't get my tech working, and I just said, I'm just going to delete that and redo it. So hopefully, you get something out of today. So I'm in the process of redesigning my portfolio, and some of you are going to be like, I really don't care, Cath, and some of you are going to say, well, I might get something out of this. So love to know where you are right now, where you're tuning in from. Let me just make sure that I can see my comments. All you need to do is whatever platform you're tuning in. This is going out to LinkedIn, it's going out to Facebook, it's going out to YouTube and to Periscope, if that's actually a thing anymore. But anyway, you can just put your comments below. Let me know where you're tuning in from, what time of the day it is. Have you been watching the football? Are you happy? Did Italy win? Are you sad that England lost? I normally watch it. I didn't watch it last night, so I've been working on a project. Anyway, so getting on to the topic at hand, which is low-fidelity wireframes. So I'm in the process of redesigning my website. I want to migrate it over to Webflow, and I thought I would document my process. I have slightly changed some of the things that I'm planning on doing. For example, I talked about building it in Webflow from scratch, and I've decided against that. And we've got a couple of comments, so let's see who we've got. We've got Richard, Toronto, Canada, Sunday evening. Nice one, Richard. Did you have a good weekend? Did you do anything nice? Hanging out with your family, friends? Oh, we've got Cara North. Hey, how are you, Cara? She says 8:30 in Columbus, Ohio. What have you been up to, lady? It's lovely to see your face. Nina is saying Washington, D.C. And Julie is tuning in from Maryland. So, Richard, he's been in the studio most of the weekend. Very good, Richard, very good. And how's the weather in America right now? You guys all sound like you're from the States, so I think it's quite warm. It's been pretty cold here, to be honest. So I'm like, oh God, I can't wait for the sun to come out. Aloha from Kona. Hello to you. Absolutely, Cara. Always stirring up trouble. Love it, love it. Love your work. Yeah, so I thought I'd document my process live. Keep the comments coming. This is these kind of sessions. I just want us to, you can chat with me. You can ask me questions. You can just whatever you want to do. I did have some music in the background the last time. Let's see if I can do that again. Let's see if I can get some tunes on in the background, because it just kind of, I think it's something that people don't do here, especially on LinkedIn. So let's see. Hopefully this won't come in too loud. Yeah, so I'm going to be talking about low-fidelity mock-ups, and this will work. Maybe it'll work. Let's give this a whirly gig. All right. So we've got some comments here. Richard says 2 hours west of Toronto, warm but rainy here, heavy rain. Julie says it's warm. Love that you're going to Webflow. I've been pondering the same thing. I want to completely rebuild. It's one of those things that I'm I'm having a few problems with WordPress right now. I've actually built a lot of websites in WordPress, and it seems like all I'm doing is just updating plugins. I'm getting notifications about vulnerabilities, and I'm absolutely sick of it. And I feel like Webflow will give me an additional skill set, because you can, Webflow, once you get your head around it, you could basically use it for different things as well. And I'm thinking about how I can use it in the e-learning space. Anyway, I'm going to share my screen and talk a little bit about Lo-Fidelity Mock-Ups. So let's see if this is going to work. And of course it's not. Let's see if that'll work now. Okay, might be useful if my camera worked. There we go. Cool. All right. So I'm doing all my Lo-Fidelity mock-ups in, just turn this music down a bit. Doing all of my mock-ups in Adobe Xd, and I want to just go through a little bit about using Adobe Xd. So Nina just asked, does Webflow have a steep learning curve? So they've got a really good university, Nina, that's free. You don't have to be a member or anything. You can actually sign up for Webflow to just build, I think, 2 or 3, whether it's websites, etc. Cara North, what do you like, mate? So I lost my train of thought. So I've done the university. Looks okay, and my mindset has changed over the last week. I talked a little bit about doing this from scratch, and then so building everything in Adobe Xd and building the whole website from scratch. But I've actually seen a template that I have bought, but I'm still going to go through the process myself, and I'm going to try and recreate the template, or if it gets too difficult, just go to customize the template. I mean, look, I obviously I'm self-taught, so I love to learn new things, but you know, it takes a bit of learning, Nina. I'm just like you, it's just learning from scratch. So you know, if you go through the university, you can build the Webflow University, you can build a portfolio, but I just thought this would be interesting to take this to the next level. Look at this girl, Cara North. So Cara says, I find the hardest thing about websites is writing the copy. I hate writing, talking about myself. So I did a session last week that talked a little bit about what is an ideal landing page. It had a really good breakdown of writing your title and your subtitle. Look, it is a real craft, Cara. But I think it's just trying to think about what you're trying to come across, how you're coming across to your client, and what you obviously want the client to do, which is, you know, you want to basically convert it into a client. Yes, no worries, Nina. Everyone's in the same boat, right? You know, everything's you start off new somewhere. So now, have any of you guys used Adobe Xd? So if you have, or if you haven't, I can take this a bit slower. I might take it slower anyway, just to show you. But there are some differences when you're creating low fidelity or high fidelity mock-ups. And the nice thing about Adobe Xd is you can create high fidelity very fast. But I want to try and talk a little bit about low fidelity. And you can see the difference here. If I just click on this. Okay. Hopefully you can see this. So Nina's saying she's used Figma but not XD. Yeah, Figma is another great one. I've just been in the XD world for a while now, so I haven't used a lot of Figma, but I see that there are a lot of really great tutorials, especially Pablo Stanley. I love his tutorials, and he does a lot in Figma. How you going, Kate? She said not XD, but interested. Okay, well, I'm going to show you a little bit about this. So, you know, when we're doing our storyboards for e-learning, and we, you know, I've done it different ways, working with different companies. Some companies just want you to put an image in to show the client what you're going to be putting on the page. Because I build a lot more kind of experiences, I do a lot of my mock-ups in XD, and that will be my next stage of videos. I want to talk about how I mock up my learning, how I mock up my Evolve, Adapt, Articulate Storyline courses, to show you kind of how I do that. But just showing you the difference right now between low fidelity mock-up and high fidelity mock-up, right? So you can see this is exactly the same thing, but I've actually started to put more detail into it. I've obviously added color, added my images. I've even gone so far as to add in shadows, etc. But what's nice about this is this allows me to take this then into Webflow, because even though Webflow is no code, you're still going to have to understand a little bit about things like radiuses and padding and margins and different things like that. So there is a little bit of a learning curve there. So today we're talking about low fidelity mock-ups. And you see, this is where I get a little bit stuck normally with e-learning. If I gave this to my clients, they would be so lost. So finding a tool, Kate, like Adobe Xd, that I can do my wireframes quickly has been a godsend, because this doesn't take me long to do. All right. So low fidelity mock-ups, wanted to just show you the difference. Now, if I was going to continue this, I can actually, like, I'm not scared to do anything with this. I can literally just grab the main artboard and I can expand it. All right. Just going to keep dragging this. Might actually... Yeah. So I did a little bit of work in my my mock-ups the other day, and I want to just show you a little bit of the functionality in Adobe Xd. So across the sidebar here, obviously you can create different things. You know, pretty self-explanatory. Rectangles, you can resize everything here. You've got circles, you've got triangles, straight lines, you've got the pen tool, which is amazing. I love that it's got the pen tool inside. Obviously text, this is creating new artboards, and you've got a zoom functionality as well. So if you create something you don't like it, you can literally just delete it. So if we move down further, here we've got libraries, okay? Now, if I was creating something in Creative Cloud, and I've created a whole load of, color schemes or assets, I can actually import them in here, okay? There's different formats that I can do. If we click on this next button down here, hopefully you can see this. These are my artboards. Even though I do not know what that is. Anyway. And then down here is plugins. And this is a whole other world. Okay, so it's just showing you the different things that you can bring in. And I haven't got any installed at the moment, but that's okay. If we feel we need something, we'll do it. Okay, so ultimately, just gonna zoom in a little bit. Might go 60%. Okay, so that's over here on the right hand side. You've got really your detail. So this artboard is 1920 by it was 1080, but I've just expanded it. That's what I did before. I'm not too bothered about anything responsive right now, though I did put some padding on the buttons, because what I want to do is when I create a button, I'm going to show you this stuff. So, I'm forgetting I'm on a Mac. So if I just create that here and I put contact me, these were little tricks that I actually was struggling with the other day on screen. So I'm gonna show you how to do this kind of stuff. Yeah, so this is basically where you can do your settings. You've got you've got your opacity. You've even got some blending modes that you can put in. This is your corner radiuses, your fill, your border. You've got your inner shadow, dark shadow, and background blur. You can also, so this was me just on elements, but you can actually customize this storyboard, the actual artboard. Change the fill. So if I wanted it a different color, which I don't, so I'm just going to turn that off. And you can even put like grid layouts on, but I'm not bothered with that either. So Richard says, Karen Oath, I agree. I hate blowing my own horn. So yeah, we're gonna have a little play with this. Now what did I do just then? So for example, I've stuffed up, I've deleted the background here. Oh no, I haven't. I want to make this white. Okay, so this is how I want to move forward. I want to basically I'm happy with the way that this navigation is. Okay, I want my logo on the left. I want a contact button on the right hand side. I want a home button about services portfolio blog. Now I've gone into a lot of detail here because this is Lo-Fidelity. This is just basically putting placeholders. In fact, I shouldn't even be putting detail like text here. So I'm going to just go ahead and cover this. And so, for example, I've just created a box. I've put it here. And if I want the same fill, I can literally just cover that. Now, let's give this a different color. Bring this to the front. Just want placeholders. Now it's also nice and easy to line things. And if I use shift back and forth, I can literally just tab it exactly where I want it. Okay, same with this. I'm just going to copy this. At the moment, I'm wanting low fidelity. I'm just going to send that to the back. Okay. So if you can see what I'm doing, I'm literally just putting a placeholder for how I want this to look. So at the moment, I'm going to keep building out my low fidelity, and then we're going to go to the high fidelity in the next session. Okay. What I might do is just, for the sake of me knowing where things are, so I just want to, I want to make it clear what's above the fold. So above the fold is basically when someone goes to your website on a desktop or on the mobile phone, and all of these items should be in that full screen. So I'll show you. If I go to cathellis.com, it's another thing, it's taking forever to load. So this is above the fold, right? So the next thing that I want to do is, instead of having my portfolio, I actually want to have some services. Actually, let me just minimize that. So I'm using a corner radius on these buttons of 20. So I'm just going to continue that. So I'm going to basically get a square. Okay. And here, all I need to do is go 20, and that will give me a corner radius. I'm not needing a border, but I want this grey fill. Now, one of the nice things about Adobe Xd let me just bring this up. one of the nice things about XD is once you have an element that you're happy with, oh, I'll show you. You can actually create a repeat grid. So what I just need to really create one element here, and then I can create a repeat grid of it. And I'll talk to you about, and it just really saves a lot of time, and is a lot more accurate. So straight off the bat, I know it's going to be, for me to, actually I've done that wrong, haven't I? I want it to be within these lines. So I'll know that I'll be using 11 pixels. So here's a question for you. When you guys do any kind of mock-up, do you go into this kind of granular detail with low fidelity and then high fidelity, or do you tend to jump into high fidelity straight away? I think sometimes low fidelity allows me to plan a little bit, just work out different ideas. So I've just opened this up. This is what I'm planning on creating, but I don't want to go through any customization right now. Okay, so this was the template that I've decided to purchase. Which is going to work really well for my brand. Okay, so I'm replicating this. Another thing that you can consider doing is, pardon me, another thing that you can consider doing if you're unsure about how to do layouts is literally to trace things, right? So I'll show you what I mean. If I just do a screen capture here, just minimize that. If you were gonna, for example, you want to work out how, let's say you buy a template or something and you want to create your own version of it. It's as simple as you just doing a screen capture and placing it on the page and tracing over it. Okay. So if this was what I was planning on doing, I'd be looking at lining it up like this. Again, just taking these boxes. What did I do there? So I'm just showing you how I would go if I was going to continue doing this. Okay, so here, just lining up these text boxes. Sometimes you can eyeball this stuff, so that looks like that's going to be 40. And again, all I need to do is go copy paste. So this is probably going to be square. So we've got a width of 177. So I'm just going to go 177 as well. Okay. For the sake of this as well, I'm just going to do these boxes. Remember, I can zoom in. I'm just showing you a process here. I think these tools, people think that they are, you know, oh, I'll never be able to learn them. This is how I learn how to do stuff. Okay, so really we want that to be 80. And let's just eyeball this. A 20 radius. And again, copy, paste. Take it out. Now, I'm just going to make this a little bit darker. And I just move that. If I wanted to make a repeat grid of that, I can literally do that. And just move it across to where I'm happy. Oop. To be a little bit more accurate, 400. So if you make a mistake, you can ungroup it. Get rid of them. I should have checked that measurement actually. So it's going to be, see that 439? You know that's not going to be right. Okay, we'll do it again. Should line up better. And we're just going to pull this across. So for me, I want to try and make sure that I've got some layouts that I can play with. If I need to move them around, so for example, I want to put my social proof at the bottom here, as I'm showing you over here. But this is the idea that I want to go for. And the beautiful thing about this is if you've created components as well that you think you're going to use again, you can basically click on them and create it into a component, right? What that means is if you've got if I'm going to use this again on more storyboards, all I need to do is literally drag it in and I don't have to recreate it. And if I change the shape of it, it's not going to bugger up the whole thing. So one example that I've got is a button, right? So see how I've got the button down here. I can create that into a component, drag it down here. I actually did put text in here, so contact me, set. Yep. And again, you can just go in and eyeball this stuff. So this is basically what I'm going to continue to do, building out this Lo-Fidelity mock-up. I want to have the best of both worlds. I want to be able to use the template that I showed you. Oh, where did I put it? Here. Okay. But I also want to show you guys how I go about creating this stuff. So you can kind of get used to Adobe Xd. I'm going to show you what I was stuck with the other day. So I basically wanted to, you know, I think the way that I would normally create a button in Articulate Storyline, for example, is I would create the button and then I'd, you know, I'd have my text. And it would be like that, and I wouldn't really care too much about I wouldn't care to, well, I would, but I wouldn't be so particular about the actual padding around the button, because Storyline doesn't allow for that kind of functionality. It's not something that you can set in stone, right? So actually I wouldn't do a button that way, because I'd actually use the text. I'd write it within the button, and then you can create the padding in the text function. But a lot of people will do it kind of this way. Been a while since I've been on Storyline. What was nice about learning how to do this, okay, is you can basically get your text, now I'm gonna forget how I did it. I had to group it. Yeah. So once you group an item, then you can do this padding. And if you can see here, it's doing this work to saying, okay, you can either set all sides or you can set these different. And, you know, so if you wanted to have that being 60. And it's nice that you can actually just hover over these items. Yeah. So now, you know, anytime you write anything in there, the button will resize for you. And that was a bit of a game changer with this. And again, I can just double click into the element that I want to change. And I can do my corner radius. I don't want a border, that's fine. This one I actually set a drop shadow, right? 0317. And I gave it a color. You can see. Really allows you to start customizing this stuff nice. So in my design, I do not want to have these lines. You know, you don't have to do this stuff from scratch, guys. You can do what I'm doing. Take ideas from another template and essentially make it your own. Yeah, so look, I hope that this has been useful. I did want to talk about Lo-Fidelity Mock-Ups because I feel like I see this a lot. I think a lot of clients get very confused by this. So just by showing you a different tool and going through this process, hopefully you'll see that it's very, very quick to create this level of design using Adobe Xd. Let me know if this has been useful. If you've got any comments, drop the comments in, you know, whatever platform you're listening to, and I'll answer them. Yeah, so this is going to be my progress. I'm going to keep going with this today. Hopefully come back tomorrow and spit. Do you know what? I actually find it harder doing the low fidelity than I do doing the high fidelity mock-ups. But I do want you to see the two processes. So I'm going to continue doing my homepage. Tomorrow I'm going to come back and do tomorrow. Later on this week, I'm going to come back and finish off, duplicate this basically and do the high fidelity. How do you feel about this, Nina? How do you feel like with this tool? Do you think this is something that you could jump in and use? Because it's actually free, Adobe Xd. And I use it for a lot of my work. I'll just show you quickly. So if all the stuff that I'm doing for the Learning Pro, so this looks a bit crazy, but basically I create all my thumbnails in this. I've got some page layouts that I was creating. And it's just so easy to make a change. So my thumbnails, it's as quick as basically me making a copy of it, pasting, changing the text. So I'm just gonna write test. And then if I want that, if to export this out, all I need to do is click on it, file, export, selected, and I can save it on my desktop as a PNG. SVG, PDF, or a JPEG. It is very similar to Figma. I mean, they really are the same thing. But yeah, I actually probably live in this tool more than anything. I just find it really easy to work with SVGs. And let's just zoom out. Yeah, making really rich logos. And masking is something that is just really quick to do as well. Anyway, I've been on for nearly an hour. I'm probably gonna call it a day. I hope this has been useful for you guys. If you got any comments, drop them below. If you've liked this video, please like, subscribe, and yeah, I'll catch you later in the week. I'm going to keep working on this, my Lo-Fidelity mock-up, and I'll convert it over to high fidelity with you guys. So yeah, look out for me scheduling another session. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you soon. Bye.